I'm back. Remember how I said building units you like is encouraged? I lied. I honeyed my words for the normies. If you don't have your Wishadel E2 level 90 M9 with her module at stage 3 by the end of this video, I'm going to obliterate your balls and send you to the Shadow Realm. Oh, but Finichi, I'm female. I don't have any. I don't discriminate.
No, but seriously.
I really don't care which operators you upgrade. I try to narrate these videos from the perspective of the first act, especially since the game is only gonna start demanding you to get good by the end of the second chapter. Imagine the easiness you'd have if you took the time and grinded. And that's what this video is for, if you happen to be new and have trouble deciding on who to upgrade. I'm going to be recommending the operators that only require the smoothest brain to use, so get ready for some hot takes. I will be referencing promotions. Most operators can be promoted twice, but it's not necessary for the scope of this video. Just once is fine enough. For a good chunk of the early game, I'd recommend getting used to low rarity operators, especially the 3 and 4 stars. One thing that separates low rarities from higher ones besides damage is deployment points, or DP. DP is the cost an operator requires to be deployed. Go figure. Lower the rarity, lower the DP, and 1 stars have the lowest cost. Ironically, it's rare to get 1 stars as they're only available in the recruitment at a lower pickup rate, but I thought pointing out the robots would still be useful. They're the cheapest to build and don't require a deployment slot. Downside is if they leave the battlefield by being defeated or after you retreat them, they have a huge resting period before they can be redeployed again.
Rock and roll!
2 stars are in the same boat by being cheap to build and deploy. Operators have unique traits, and of the 2 stars to build, I'd recommend 12F and Durin.
The land of giants. Here I am!
They have traits that allow them to dodge 50% physical and arts damage respectively. Physical attacks are stabby shooty, and arts have the power of God and anime behind them. Some people would recommend Yado, but she's more useful in later stages when you need someone to bait attacks. She's also not as good as Gravel, but we'll get to that later. As mentioned previously, I really want you to consider building 3 stars. It's easy to look past them because their skills are super basic, but they are useful. They can be promoted once, increasing their stats and keeping them viable for a little longer. The ones I'd recommend are Fang, Malentha, Cruz, Beagle, and either Hibiscus or Ansel should do the trick. Getting the last 2 out of the way, Benai and Best Cook are healers. Ansel's skills allows him to increase his range, while Hibiscus's skills gives her more healing. Ooh, options. Is Arknights an MSim? Beagle is a defender. She protect, but most importantly she failed her assessment. Very nice. I used her along with Cruz way past their prime because Beagle is a cheap unit with good defense. Cruz is in the same boat of reliability, albeit for different reasons. While Cruz is a sniper unit, her subclass ensures she prioritizes attacking air units. Her skill also gives her an attack buff, and the skill points required to use it is low. Skill points, or SP, is the amount of points it takes for an operator to use a skill. Fang and Malentha are no-brainers. You'll see a lot of people recommend them too. Malentha can do decent damage to low-level mobs, and even early bosses. The one I want to emphasize building is Fang. It's easy to overlook vanguards because the units aren't meant for damage. They're meant for increasing your DP. You won't encounter any stages that limit your natural DP regen, but especially if initial waves rush for your special private place, you're gonna want someone out and printing DP to get stronger units out. Even if you invest in the other 3-star Vanguard vanilla, you should be fine. Alright, let's get the elephant out of the room. Myrtle, our little Generalissimo. She, along with 3 other operators, belong to the standard bearer subclass of the Vanguard. Now you may ask yourself, who would use a flag as a weapon on the battlefield? But these units are very useful for printing DP. Metastats show Myrtle is one of the most used operators for endgame content due to how reliably she can provide DP.
That's a nice argument, Senator. Why don't you back it up with a source?
My source is that I made it the fuck up.
If you do get her, you could try to fit her in your squad, but I wouldn't recommend building her. Again, very useful, but she's better with an operator named Bagpipe, who increases Myrtle's starting SP, making her able to print DP a lot quicker. And don't get me wrong, I love my potato wife, but this is endgame stuff, and you may not get the same experience as other doctors who've played for longer and built up their characters. She also can't defend or attack while she's printing DP, so it could throw you for a loop if not prepared. For this, if you felt obligated to build any of the 4-star vanguards, I'd recommend Courier and Vegna, who can reliably defend and deal damage respectively while also providing DP. If you happen to not get the Lobotomite or the Rocker, Fang is still a reliable option. There are a lot of other reliable 4-stars. It's annoying to go over each and every one of them, so here are some strong recommendations. Mouse can deal arts damage, Jessica's a reliable AA unit, Meteor is pretty, but can also lower enemy defense. Perfumer is a reliable multi-heal medic that you could obtain. Click can shoot magic and goes pew pew. Two other units I also want to mention are Gumi and Quora. Both are defenders but have different jobs. Quora is an extremely reliable early tank. She defends and she has skills that make her more suited for that than Beagle. I'm mentioning Gumi because she is my daughter, but also she heals units as opposed to increasing her own defense. She can't necessarily replace a medic, but being a 4-star with decent stats, she can block and provide healing assistance that could prove useful in early stages. Even more so than the 5-star healing defenders due to her cost to upgrade being cheaper. So the operators I'm about to recommend go out of the scope of the video, which is to recommend easy to use operators. But if you nab Shaw, Rope, or Gravel, I'd recommend making them secondary investments. Specifically Shaw and Rope, who push and pull respectively. Some stages in Arknights are equipped with pits that instantly kill enemies that fall in, by your hand or otherwise.
My name is Kevin, and today
They're especially prominent in early stages and can be fun to take advantage of. Gravel, my wife, is a good decoy unit, even more so than Yado in my opinion. Wife has a lower deployment time which allows Gravel to bait an enemy, retreat, and bait another attack more efficiently than Yado. As much as I want to talk about my wife and recommend her, she is a pretty specialized unit and isn't Unga Bunga strong, which is why I recommend building her and especially Rope and Shaw secondarily with your main operators. Jackie is also a staple of my Arknight streams and a pseudo mascot of sorts. I'd be letting all 3 of her fans down if I didn't put her in this video. Jack. Fuck! One last 4-star I want to recommend is Frostleaf. I recommend her so much, you should promote her twice for maximum usage. Do it. Trust. It'd be really funny. Oh boy, 5 stars. It's difficult to recommend most of them because a lot of them lean towards different mechanics rather than hitting enemies hard. For instance, Lapland is useful because she's able to silence an enemy, or enemies, and prevent them from using their own skills. She's also willing to drive a semi into a courthouse, but that's a whole other thing. Chomber is neat. Aside from being cute, she can lower an enemy's defense with her summon. Speaking of summons, you also have characters like Mitten, who I also kinda like and think is fun.
Ooh, coupon.
An actual summoner, though, is Mare, who can summon Meeboos.
Why are these cuties called Meeboos? That's because they go Meeboo when they boot up.
They can self-destruct and cause damage to surrounding enemies. I think the main ones I'd recommend is Telopsis. She's a multi-healer, but her trait allows your operators to have a slightly faster SP regenerate. Another operator would be Texas. She can provide extra DP by just being in the squad, and if promoted, her second skill can apply stun, which is nice against mob rushes. She's available in the free 5-star pack, but she's also free via the pinboard missions, albeit you need to have completed 4-4 to get access to her. If you get your hands on Platinum though, you're honestly golden. May not be as attractive as Gravel and can't use an ab roller, but if you promote her, her skills gives her extra range and damage at the cost of speed, which is a fair trade in my opinion. Also, maybe a hot take, but I'd be silly not to recommend the mascot herself, Amiya. Most people won't recommend her because her skill set is aimed towards damaging bosses. There are better options for bonking bosses though, but she's free. She comes with your copy of Arknights, and the only weird thing about her is her third skill retreats her after usage. But that's only available after her second promotion. Otherwise you'll be fine if you're aware that her second skill stuns her for a bit, and that it activates on its own. Don't fuck with me, Twala. I'm schizo.
Swala might not be good at farm work,
but he has plenty of combat experience and looks pretty handsome when he's wielding a sword.
Alright, time for the most controversial take in the entire video. All 6 stars are viable. If you hear people gas up an operator, it's because they vibe very well with a certain team, they can do Oonga Boonga numbers, or they have a very good support kit. That's why I need to emphasize this right away. If you don't get a meta operator, you'll still be fine. It'll just be a matter of whether you want to build them. Operators like Irene are good and bold. Eunectes is good, also yummy. Mizuki is good and soft. Dusk is good and stinky. Crown Slayer is good. Okay, let's not get ahead of ourselves. Now keep in mind, 6 stars are the highest rarity operators you can get, and, mining the welfare units, are rare to obtain. However, Arknights permits a free 10 pull where you are guaranteed a 6 star from the newbie roster. Current roster contains Arketo, Weedy, Mountain, Flametail, Suzerain, and Thorns. Very cool, Finishi. These were the characters from the previous newbie banner. Ever since ULPP's event, Path of Life, the newbie banner has been updated to involve Thorns and Mountain, Saria, Blaze, Silver Ash, and Exia.
You can call me Exusier.
Whatever. Which is a shame. I was gonna make a flashbang joke with Suzerain, but it's my video, so I'm gonna do it anyways. I only found this out because I decided to start a throwaway account to get some gameplay footage I couldn't get otherwise. I'm evidently nettled by these circumstances and have more reason to hate the ocean now. I will take my frustration out by hazing Zola, or looking up Gravel fan art, whichever is the closest to.
When chaos abounds, the thrust of a blade takes no shape.
In the meantime, accept my completely unedited script that I totally didn't need to rewrite at the last minute. So these newer units are very good. In the previous newbie banner, I could only recommend Thorns and Mountain. The thing is though, Exia Silver Daddy, Gilf, and Butch Gilf have very good traits as well as being less niche in combat. For starters, Exusii goes burr. No, literally. All her skills increase the number of shots she can shoot at a time. She's the same archetype as Cruz, so she'll prioritize air units, making her one of the better AA characters. Saria is the same class as Gumi, but her second skill gives more range, making her one of the best in her archetype. For context of how good she is, there was a character that came out, Shu. She is Rice Wife, and she does this.
听民移行，古语一语。
Saria is still considered very good even when compared to Shu due to how reliably she can heal, although I wouldn't make her a must-have. Her third skill completes her kit as it can heal and dish out magic damage, but that requires her to be promoted a second time. Blaze is also good. Her second skill increases her range, so you could theoretically just toss her behind a defender and have her go ham. Being the Centurion she is, she can also attack multiple enemies, making everyone fear the chainsaw. Thorns is also really good when invested. Talking strictly about his base and not his Fire Mama class promotion, his third skill is great and has unlimited duration on the second use, and his second talent lets him regen health when he's idle, but you get access to that when he's promoted a second time. To give Thorns credit, he does have a very attractive face. Type in Thornsification Arknights into Google and click the first Reddit link. Do it. Trust. It'd be really funny. Silver Ash is in the same position since he gains his best niche during his second promotion, which is revealing invisible enemies within range. But he's remained meta all this time for a reason. He has a long range, can attack air units, albeit at a lower attack percentage, but his first trait allows him to lower the deployment time by 5%. Our Feline Felon has the biggest recommendation from me though. Once you promoted him once, he'll have access to a skill that decreases his attack speed and range in exchange for more damage and self-healing. This makes Mountain incredible for holding a lane by himself, especially when dealing with mobs. One thing I want to add, while who you get from the newbie banner is random, if you log in for 5 days, you'll be given a free 6-star pack, where you can choose from the aforementioned characters. potentials are useful, but they aren't as important as something like Eidolons from Star Rail or Neural Archives from Girls Frontline 2, so feel free to choose the character you want from the pack. Arknights is as much a game about its characters as it is its story. You may not even get any of the operators I recommended, and I think that adds to the experience. Being able to assemble a bunch of war criminals and dress tailors and botanists adds to the charm.
Fanichi, if you really don't care what we build, then what was the point of this video?
Clout. Like, subscribe, give me money.
Analyzing.
But if you promote her, she gains extra attack range and attack at the cost of attack speed. What the fuck?